Hello dissenters, my name is Italicx, and I am here today in the long-awaited, much-anticipated City Skylines with a little sneak peek, because the game doesn't actually release till March the 10th, but we have a little early access, and if you couldn't tell, I'm more than a little excited. So before we launch into a new city that we're going to build from the ground up, I want to point out the cool Steam Workshop integration. It's right here on the main menu, so if you have a save that you're particularly proud of and you want to show off, you can. And if you have maybe an asset or a custom-built region from the map editor where you can designate your own hills, valleys, lakes, and rivers for you to build cities upon, you can share all those too. Not sure how deep the asset editor is, so you have to try that out for yourself maybe. On the left, you'll notice some DLC advertisements where this is for a different game. I don't doubt that there will be some DLC in the future, and to be honest, I wouldn't really mind because the game's releasing at $30, so in my brain I have like a $30 extra room for DLC to equal a $60 game. So I know, something I shouldn't probably say, but nonetheless, it has been said already, too late. On the region select screen as we start a new game here, you'll see some similarities to SimCity. I had to do it, guys, I had to. Starting with resources. So we got oil, ore, farming, and forestry in every single of the 9 regions, as well as some connections, so rail, highway, ship, and plane. And it's worth noting also if you start in the same region, like I'm gonna pick Sandy Beach here. If we both pick Sandy Beach, we'll start in the exact same spot. However, as you're playing, you can buy more land and expand your city in different directions, making for a unique city. So I'm going way back in the day, reviving Boulder Line. Longtime viewers, you probably remember this from Banished. Sheboygan Falls was a SimCity name, but I want like a fake place. Plus, we're uniting italics to bold and underline, so we have the Trinity going for us now. So we're going to be focusing on forestry and ore collection, it looks like. Let's go. I've always kind of had an affinity for the beaches, but you'll notice we don't really get a good beach here. We're going to have to expand. There's the prime real estate that I'm talking about. We may be able to get that someday. You probably noticed that the similarities extend beyond just resources. SimCity has lended to us, yes, that is a white dotted line that you see, but don't panic, it's okay. Even though this is how much space we have to work with, we can zoom out to the global menu here, and I think this is 2 by 2 kilometers. You can actually unlock more squares left, right, up, and down, and expand your city in whatever direction you choose, making for a much bigger area and room to work with. So let's get back in there and start actually constructing things. One of my favorite things, actually. Roads! Oh, I love roads. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of roads, but I'll try to make this as painless as possible. Let's start by just a simple 2-lane road. That's all we have access to. More will be unlocked over time. It's also worth noting you can disable the unlocking system and kind of make your own way if you want to and just have everything unlocked from the get-go. That is perfectly viable. So we're going to build our starter road just kind of straight in. They're both one way, so one is entering the city, the other is exiting the city. And I'm just going to have the one that's exiting connect. We'll go, I'd say 1 block out. And then I'm going to select the curve tool, and that's going to allow me to kind of make ourselves an elbow. Let's say here, and with that elbow you can see we're now flexing to make a curved road. And I kind of want it to just curve straight into the other one. So it might be a little bit janky, but that actually looks pretty straight. Okay, I'm okay with this. So it's important to make sure both of those are connected pretty early on, so that everyone can get in and out of the city pretty easily, make loops if they need to. So I'm going to be kind of building towards this location, for a pretty good reason. I want to have the bulk of my starter city on this area. So we're going to make one pretty lengthy road heading in that direction, and then we're going to start taking a look at some of the basic resources like electricity and water and sewage, all that good stuff. So we're going to zoom as far out as we can up here to kind of get a lay of the land. About the halfway point, which looks to be around here, give or take. I'm going to click to make an elbow, and then have the curved road kind of take us in the rest of the way. I think this is going to look pretty good. All right, there we go. So now we've got the main drag of our city. This is going to be cutting it almost in half. I know one side's bigger than the other, but I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and start expanding kind of along the beach in this direction. Make another elbow, and the curve can go almost all the way out to where we have the dotted line. I want to leave a little bit of space though, because I want some people to be able to zone there in the future if I want to build out that way. All Alright, so one road, pretty simple so far. Let's go ahead and skip to some zoning, since I know you don't want to see road building for the entire video. Right next to the roads, we got the checkered square, which is going to give us access to residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. So it's worth noting you probably don't want to build the industrial next to the residential. Should be kind of common sense. Meanwhile, some low-density commercial would do well next to a few residential homes. So what I'm going to do is start just on the very end of the corner. You'll notice that we are now filling in little blocks. It looks a little bit different than in SimCity, doesn't it? There's individual cubes. You can even go so finely detailed with a small brush and paint that one cube if you want to. Or you can use a bigger brush, just kind of sweep in the zones with where you want the houses to go. Let's unpause the game so people can go ahead and start moving in here. And I want to see, what is the marquee? Does this allow me perhaps to draw a square? Yes, it does. Okay, so if you want it, that's probably the quickest way to do it. So if I want all of these from here down, you can just zone like that. It's a pretty good way to do it. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space here for a road in the future, and so we can go further down on the beach. This is kind of the middle class homes. We're going to have the rich people down here, even though part of this is kind of rocky, I guess. We also are going to need some shops. Like I said, this is going to be the main drag. We're probably going to build residential all around this zone. So how about we get a few shops here, close to where we've been building a few of our residentials. So I'm going to go with the large brush and just kind of do a little bit of painting. And once I am satisfied with that, we're going to start working on a little bit of industrial. I think that probably is a good way to start. Maybe too many shops for how many houses we have. It's also worth noting that I should probably pause, because we're getting some homes cropping in here. And you'll notice they need electricity and they need water. So we have to figure out what kind of electricity we want to use. So let's click on this. You'll notice we have a couple options to begin. We've got pretty much green energy in the form of wind turbines, and then coal power if you want a little bit of pollution and noise, but probably a lot more efficient as a result. And it extends to some grayed out advanced turbines, oil, hydro, solar, and nuclear, I'm guessing. Yes. Alright, well, green power is good, but like I said, it can take up a lot of room. I think we're going to start with green energy, and we can always move up to coal power plants and higher if we need to. But I think it's important to start with these wind turbines just to see where the windy areas are the greatest. So you can see here on the coast, I think we've got a ton of wind. But up here at the top right, we've also got some nifty spots. 7 megawatts estimated there, 6. So yes, darker spaces are in fact better. And I don't really want to go in the middle of town. I don't know if we're going to be using this for anything except maybe some forestry. There's way better spots for forestry. Okay, I'm going to go with this corner then. Let's start up here. So 8 megawatts. Wow, that is pretty solid. So we're going to build 1 and then 2 pretty close to each other. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like you can snap these together to ensure a straight line, and they are rounded little modifiers here, so it makes it difficult to kind of see if you're going in a perfectly straight line for the OCD among you. And I think it's safe to begin. This is 7 megawatts. Let's do another 8 megawatter. There we go, 3 to begin. Looks like those blades are gonna be hitting each other. Hopefully that is okay. But now we have to connect our electricity, so that is the next step in the equation. Look at our little wind turbines go. I guess they meet the safety regulations, regardless of if they look a little bit sketchy. So now that we've built our generators, we need a way to connect power from here to here. See these little light blue outlines? That's where they have to connect to. So we kind of want to keep these power lines out of the way if we can. So I'm going to build around the edge of the map. You can build towards the center, and indeed we will have to at some point. But this is just kind of the safe way to do it to start off with when you don't know exactly where you're going to be zoning. And if I ever do want to zone out here on the edge, well, we can make that happen. And we'll see how before long. Okay, so once we've connected any of these little lines into that blue zone, you're going to see that we're starting to light up, indicating that we have power. And as long as we connect it to a blob, it's going to travel under the street the rest of the way, and you'll notice that they no longer need electricity. All right, basic stuff. Yes, thank you, Earl Richardson. I'm working on water at this very moment, if that's okay with you. Let's do that next. Water requires a couple of basic things. One, you're gonna need a pumping station. So you're gonna have to pump the water out of somewhere, but we wanna figure out where. I know, basic, but that's not as basic as you might think. Because we need to make sure that we're pumping water from upstream. That's very important. So you can see the water is flowing from this direction and kind of zooming over here. We don't really have a lot of space to work with, so it makes sense to me that the water's probably flowing this direction, left to right. So we're going to have the pumping station. Wait, this is not the pumping... Yes, this is the pumping station. Okay. We want to make sure we have this on the left-hand side, kind of as far to the left as we can to save room for some richer homes. This is going to be making noise, pollution, all that stuff too. Not actual pollution, but noise pollution, I think. Building it is not good enough, though. We have to connect it to a power source to make sure that it works. So we're going to kind of do the same deal. Let's build up here. We can connect it like so, and now we will start pumping water. But being able to pump the water, that's not good enough for your town. You need to go a little bit beyond that. We got a pipe. That's right, you actually have to build individual pipes to make sure that they're all connected. So we'll start here at the water pumping station and connect it. So you see this blue area of influence? This is how you know what space is going to be getting the water. So we just have to keep covering all of this area with these blue pipes. And once we have securely done that, we'll be reasonably certain that everyone has their own water supply. All right, very good. You can see they no longer need water, but rather they need a place to dump sewage. And this is why I was making sure that we were at a good location for our little pumping station, because you don't want them to pump up the sewage and feed it. Or do you? Maybe you do. Well, that's fine. You can do that if you want to, but I am going to choose to avoid it so as not to upset my citizens. Each of these buildings is going to have their own stats, how much electricity they require, so that you can kind of keep up with how much you need. I think we might actually be having some electricity problems before long. See, nothing's connected over here to our shops. Indeed. All right, let's get this sewage station built first, as far to the side as we can, because of the noise pollution and the fact that we're going to be dumping nasty, disgusting sewage into the water. And we need to connect our electricity up here. So how are we going to do this? We're probably going to build in this direction, and we're going to stop right on the outskirts of this little grid area, because as long as we don't build inside of that grid, buildings can still go next to these power lines. So you see what we're doing here? We're just kind of preparing for the future. We're not going to really need this many in the future, and in fact, should you choose to build really close to the start, you won't need this many cables and wires. This is just a personal choice that I have decided to do myself. All right, so now these buildings have electricity. Sewage is the only thing remaining. Again, I'm going to do a little bit of science. Let's see if we can start a little station here and then connect it here. Because I'm curious, will the electricity go from one set of cables through the ground to the other set? It appears so. Okay, that is really cool. Electricity is here, and that means some sewage is also. It just needs to be connected with a pipe. Yes, I know I need to zone industrial. Thank you, game. Of course you need pipes. See how we've got one flowing in with water, and the other is going to be useful for flowing out. So let's connect it like so. And now you should start seeing a little bit of sewage being pumped the other way. Let's see if it all works the way it's supposed to. Oh, there it is, that light green. Delicious. Hey, little pump. Is anybody here working? You'll also notice, speaking of working, you don't really have to have any road leading up to this place. These appear to be just automatic, and they don't require people to get to and from these locations to work there. So that applies to the water pumping station, that applies to the electric generators, the wind turbines. I don't know if that applies to the coal power plant. You might need to build that along a road. I have not built one yet, so we'll have to wait and see. I just want to make sure everyone's got all of the basics. I think we've got them covered, guys. They've got electricity, they've got water, they've got sewage being pumped out, they've got some shops. Now they just need a place to work and call home. So I'm gonna build kind of away from everything, but I want to make sure that we're not blowing pollution into the city. So let's check on the wind speed. I guess direction is not an issue like it is in SimCity. Because I see we're all, the wind appears to be blowing towards the highway. But again, I don't know if that really matters. I don't see a direction or arrows or anything. I kind of want to designate this area up here for our little industrial zone. So I'm going to get some road building, and you'll notice that we've got a few more options here to click from, including some 6-lane roads, some 4-laners, and a little bit fancier versions of those with decorations. For now, we're just going to start with 2-lane, because we can upgrade roads over time. It's a bit more forgiving than SimCity is in that regard. So we're going to go a little bit further down this direction. Start with probably just a straight line. So let's select the straight line tool. And we'll go all the way, almost all the way to the edge. All right, that's a good way to start. And we're going to begin in this corner up at the top. All right, a few more roads in, and I want to kind of make sure that we've got plenty of space here. See how I could have pushed this road a little bit over to the left for maximum efficiency? We can go ahead and demolish these for mostly a refund. Look at all the industrial that we need. Let's slow this down to 1x speed so I can kind of figure this out. Actually, you know what? I see the little line on the left and right is telling me. So this should be the optimal spacing. I think I did that right. All right, I figured it out. Still learning here, guys, so I'm going to try to keep my mouth shut on a few of these issues while I figure it out. Let's go ahead and paint these zones in for industrial. This looks like a pretty good spot. This whole area in here is going to be great because we're going to be expanding out here eventually anyway. And I don't want to do too much, though, because we are going to have need for jobs to fill in all of this zone. So to try to compensate for that, we're going to begin zoning for some more residential, and it looks as though we have started with the outpouring of disgusting waste into this beautiful, beautiful little, what is it, a river? Ocean? I'm going to say ocean. So not only do we have this goop just pouring out nonstop, but you can actually see how it's tainting the water with purple just ooze. Oh, it's disgusting. What do we have up here, Twitterbot? What are you doing, fake tweets? Let's see. Local traders and business owners request more manufacturing. We're working on it. A blackout? Is there a blackout? I hope not. We got fresh water and electricity. Oh, speaking of electricity, let's make sure they got some. They're also going to need some water disposal. All right, so here's where our initial little layer went. And it started going down that way. By layer, I mean these little poles, these power lines, these towers. I think we can stretch across these roads. So let me give that a try. Let's try building a pole here. All right, we might need to build it a little bit over to the left. There we go. So it's going to take up a little bit of our zoning space. Let's try, yeah. Okay, this is actually going to work better. There we go. All right, I think I fixed the problem. All I need to do is make sure that I've zoned a building here, and once that building is constructed, it should connect everyone else up to the power grid. Unfortunately, that's not going to apply to our water, so let's make sure they've got plenty of space to get rid of all of that nasty, disgusting sewage. There we go. All right, so that should take care of business, hopefully. All right, now our industry can actually function. How they were getting all the smokestacks to work before having electricity and water is beyond me, but that's not for me to question. We've been doing a lot of building. Well, not a lot. Okay, we're still at the beginning of the game, really. But I want to take some time to smell the roses, the sights and sounds, and look at our city as it runs, you know? Let me just get one little road out here. Oh, we're low on money. So this is a perfect time to kind of do the smelling of the sights and the sounds. Let's speed this up to 3x speed. This is the maximum right now. We can see our people love parking on the side of the road for some reason. Whatever helps them work. Now, the only thing that rubs me the wrong way is something that can be fixed by mods and the asset building tool, and that is duplicate buildings. It has a nasty habit of kind of building the same location next to each other. So that's gonna bother me in time, but I can just pretend like all 4 of these are just built by the same contractor. And this is just like the apartment complex over here or something. I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? Like, here's an L, here's an L. Here's another one of those red and blue buildings. For some reason, they're ever popular in this part of town. Here's 2 same houses across the street. Here's 2. This is actually the same pattern of 4. That's my only complaint, but most of the time you're going to be playing like this anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's just something I hope we can fix in the future by downloading some aesthetic little mods from the workshop, or who knows. It is cool, however, that each of these buildings can be clicked on to see their individual stats, and we'll look at those here in a second. We're more interested in this page. This is going to be something that you're seeing constantly. As as you reach certain populations, you're going to be unlocking more and more buildings. In this case, we have an elementary school, a medical clinic, and a landfill site. So we got education, healthcare, and garbage to play with, as well as loans and taxes. And as we reach more milestones, the next one being 1,000, we're going to unlock specializations like forestry, agriculture, new police stations, and firehouses. All kinds of cool things. Policies and specializations. I like it. I like the unlock system, and a new area so we can grow our city in terms of region. But before we get to those things, I want to show you what I was talking about before, the stats. So you can see we got 3 out of 3 households. We can see how educated our citizens are and how many seniors, adults, and teens are living at each one. Really, really good on the stats. And if you fancy following Pierce Williams around, you can do so. Even turn it into camera mode if you want for that scenic view. Isn't that relaxing? He's going into his house. Okay, see you later, bud. Let's see if we can find somebody else. All right, we got to exit camera mode. And you can actually rename your citizens, I think. Aha, you can. I don't know how you can keep track of them. That would be cool if you could have like some bookmarked citizens. Maybe I just don't know how to do that yet. That would be pretty cool. I want to bookmark some people and see how their lives are going. Look at this pollution. It's spreading along the shoreline, guys, but unfortunately, we don't really have much of a choice right now. So, ideally, what I would probably do is buy some land out here and have this little pool be kind of the nasty zone and just have the rest of it be nice and clean, because if I want to build on the beaches, we don't want to pollute the beaches. That sounds terrible. So while we're talking about pollution and stuff, how about we get some trash collection? That seems important. So highlighting it here, we can see it's 4,000 bucks. We got money for reaching a new city site, so they just gave us money. And this is going to send out trucks, 8 million in capacity for trash, 15 garbage trucks, 100 pollution, 0 noise pollution. All good things to know, because you want to keep your income square. You don't want to spend more than you have, 160 per week. Let's take a look at our economy as soon as we build this. So I kind of want this in the corner. That just makes sense. We've got too much industry anyway, so I'm going to build it way up here, out of sight, even if I have to destroy a few buildings in the process. That's right, little fake tweeter. We're taking out the garbage. We're expanding. I don't know what to do. Sometimes it's just gibberish. Okay, and let's actually take a look at the dump itself. And we can probably see some of the trucks zooming out of here to start collecting all that nasty trash. You can even follow one around and watch its little route if you want to. Here we go. We probably got a big distance to go before we actually get in here to town. So the load, there's actually a meter for the load too. We almost had a wreck there with the hot dog van. You might want to be a little bit more careful in the future. You can actually watch as it picks up its garbage. I guess it's just kind of zooming by all the buildings and picking it up as it goes. This is kind of streamlining the process. I think the motivation here is to make sure that there's not a huge traffic problem, because so many people were thrown off by SimCity's traffic issues that they quit the game. So I think they've tried to avoid that as much as they possibly can. Now this garbage truck is kind of reminding me of one thing I do miss from SimCity. I miss the ability to click on individual buildings and add and expand to them. That was a really cool thing that I think was underappreciated. All right, so we reappear back here in the landfill, deposit our garbage. It would also be cool if this started empty and kind of built up over time, but maybe I ask too much. What do I mean by expanding buildings? Well, in SimCity, you could click on, say, the landfill, buy more garbage trucks. Like right now, we just start with a full 15, it seems like. I kind of miss those little options to expand your services a little bit further. It just makes it a little bit more click and forget. So the landfill here, we've clicked it down, and we can just pretend like it doesn't exist. You know, that part I do miss. Anyway, let's not harp on the past, Italics. We need to build some more residential, and we've actually got the money to do it now. So we're going to zone a little bit in this direction, I think. We've still got the curve tool selected. And I think this is going to be a pretty decent way to do it. It goes underneath the power line, so we don't have to destroy it. And if we build out this way, we can kind of plan for the future and allow us to build along the beach. See what I'm saying? So now that that road is down, let's paint some more residential down here. Unfortunately, these guys have to be next to the dump, the nasty sewage, but that is the price you pay for having beach access. Kids, don't go play in this water. Make your sandcastles somewhere else. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this first little look into City Skylines. Definitely more where this came from. I might even be streaming now. Who knows? Click on the link in the description of this video to follow me over at twitch.tv/Italics. We're going to be diving deep into this game via Twitch and streaming, but also on YouTube. There will be more episodes continuing this save and series in the near future. So stay tuned on both of these little locations. Twitch and YouTube, Twitch and YouTube, Twitch and YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Italics. If you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And I will see you soon.